We're honored to have our special guest on this new series. Remember, with John Lodge, if you want to see the entire video, the entire interview, check out Rock History Book, our sister station, or the podcast, links in the description of this video. Also, keep in mind, we talked to John Lodge 2 days before we lost Graham Edge. So if he talks about Graham in the present tense, you'll understand why. Here's John Lodge of the Moody Blues. Did you ever pick up the instrument and then you wanted to be a kid? Was there ever a time in your life that you were like that?
I never got into music until I was 13 years of age. It didn't really interest me at all. And it's only when rock and roll turned up and the jukebox, and I could hear the driving left-hand piano of people like Fats Domino, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, and all those people. That's when it hit me, and so I really knew what I wanted to do there.
The world is filled with disgruntled employees who say, in radio, we used to have the same. People would go, John Beaudin, I've been listening to you for 38 years and I still hate you. There's people and I'm going, why are you listening? But there's people who, like my dad had a job and he didn't really particularly like his job, but you're still doing it. This live project's out. I saw your video promoting it and I'm going, still got fervor in his voice. He's still got meaning, which is something that a lot of people leave. Is that part of, did you learn that? Were you always kind of that type of person of going, if you're going to do something, do it right?
I've always, because, it goes back really to the birth of the Moody Blues. I was younger than the other guy, except Justin, I must say. But when they were going to become professional, I was at college and I was reading mechanical engineering because as a young person I wanted to be a car designer. And when Ray Thomas said to me, come on John, we're going down to London as the Moody Blues, and I said, I've still got 2 years to go at college and I'm going to finish that. And whatever happens, I'm going to finish it. And I finished it. And I'm really proud of that, to finish it and get the certificate, a bit like Wizard of Oz, really, I suppose. But get the certificate. And then Ray rang me and said, have you finished college yet? I said, yeah. He said, get down to London now and come and join the Moody's. So I've always had that. I try to remain positive all the while. It's not possible all the while, I have to tell you. I'm sure everyone knows that. But I always try and think about the glass being half full and not half empty. It's the same level in the glass, but it's a different attitude. Yeah. Different attitude together.
One of my mentors used to say, everyone looks at the center of the pie from a different angle, sometimes way over there, but it's important to know how the other guy thinks and stuff. But you're good at finishing the file. That's how my wife puts it. She closes the file. You went to school, you close that file,
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's really important because, it manifests itself in a lot of ways. I wrote a song called House of Four Doors, and that is like opening a door, going in, checking it all out, and say, okay, I've done that, come out, close the door, see another door. And you can widen your horizons, but you're still keeping focused on who you are as a person.
The Royal Affair and after, I'm looking at this list of songs, this body of work, which encompasses a lot of years. And I thought to myself, he must look at the back of this and be proud. It encompasses so much life, so much, blood, sweat, and tears, everything that you put. What's your feeling with this project? It must have felt gratifying.
It really did. I'm really proud of it because, I mean this in the real sense of it. I've honored the other guys in the band with doing their songs. And I was with Graham Edge last week, and I said to Graham, I took him a copy of the album because his poem is on there. And I said to him, I hope you like what I've done, you know, musically for this album. And I hope all the guys in the band really recognize the integrity I've tried to give all the songs that they have written, you know, because I'm proud of everything we've done as the Moody Blues, and not just of my own songs. I'm talking about songs of Justin, Ray's, Graham's, and Mike's. It's been the soundtrack of my life, you know.
You and Ray went back to what, you were 14 when you met him?
Yeah. Ray used to sing on a Thursday at the Methodist School Youth Club in a little band, and I used to go there, not be part of a table tennis. I think I can't remember, but I didn't know Ray. I knew what he did there, and I met him one day. I think on the bus. And I said, "Are you Ray Thomas?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm Johnny Lodge, basically, shall we band?" And we did, and we became great mates. And I taught Ray to drive a car. That's how friendly and young we were. You know, I passed my test long before him, and I taught him to drive. Not very well, actually, but I did. And more than that, his parents and my parents became great friends because of us. And they shared holidays together and Christmases and all that. It was amazing to see what actually happened when this relationship with Ray and I grew. And his children are still on Facebook with my kids. You know, it's been a wonderful family journey.
The tour next year, again, going out, and do you tour because are you one of those musicians that just loves it out there? You just, because, you know, a player's got to play if he's a musician. Why do you still do it?
Have bass will travel. It's as simple as that, really. I just enjoyed it from day one, and obviously there's a lot of downtime and a lot of frustrations and all that. But like ride my seesaw, you know, you come up the other side and you come up positively, and it's a gypsy in me. I enjoy traveling and meeting people, but I enjoy getting on stage and playing the music. And, you know, some of us are players and some of us are listeners, but we're all just singers in a rock and roll band.
Going back and you know, looking at the story, and I always do my research 4 hours before I do an interview because I want it fresh in my mind, because I've got my notes right here and I'm ready to roll. I mean, I bought many of your albums, including your solo stuff. But that when Denny left and you and Justin came in, and I'm hearing money problems in the band, and I'm going, you guys were at the edge of one of the most cutting edge albums ever. But while you were making it, was there a lot of, I'm not necessarily thinking angst, but were you guys worried? Did you know what you were building? Because there's that Dvorak rumor that somehow they wanted a Dvorak album. And what was it like making that first album?
It was brilliant, I have to tell you, because before then, recording sessions were like 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, 2 to 5, and 6 till 10. That's all you could have. And when they approached us to make this album, Days of Future Past, we said, we'll do it, providing we can have total lockdown, 24 hours a day in the studio. And I don't think anyone had ever asked for that before. And They said yes. They said,
Where'd
yeah,
you get
you
the
can
guts
have
to?
this.
Where'd you get for you're a bunch of young guys, and I love that you did that. And I know the story. I just want you to say it, of course. But where did you get the kahunas to ask that as a young band?
Well, we just did. I don't know. We just did. That's what we wanted to do. I think, we'd all been playing for 4 or 5 years before that, covering songs from America, all American songs, most of the blues, rock and roll, but it was all based around New Orleans and the Delta and Memphis and Elvis and Memphis, and we'd never been to America, so how could you sing really from the heart about these songs? And so we decided to write our own songs, and we said, well, if we're going to record them, we need this studio because we need to experiment and see how we're going. And if 3 o'clock in the morning, we're still in the studio, we're still in the studio. And we asked and we got it. And we asked all the while. And we had the head of Decca Records was a wonderful guy called Sir Edward Lewis. And he let us do what we wanted to do. We'd ring him up and said, headphones are the worst thing in the world. And he would say, well, what one do you need? And we'll tell him and do it, And lots of things used to go on like that. And we'd be in their studio at 4 o'clock in the morning, people.
Did you know what you had? Did you know what you had? Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm looking at this, and every time I listen to that album, I'm just swept away. After all these years, and I've heard it hundreds of times, I still get goosebumps from it. I still go that in the middle of it. Did you know you were creating greatness, or did you know it was different? At least you knew.
We knew it was different, and the other thing is, I'm the bass player and the vocalist and the harmony. Graham's a drummer. Mike's the mellotron. Justin's acoustic and singer. Ray is singer, flute player. But we all knew our own parts. And until we went into the studio and heard what all those parts put together sounded like, we didn't hear that before. You can't hear that when you're rehearsing because you're concentrating on what you're doing. You don't hear the whole sound. And I remember on the playback, when we had the playback, we in the dark, we always put the lights down totally out. Big speakers on in the studio floor, and we invited girlfriends and friends and a couple of people, the record company. And when we played the song back first, if I remember right, nothing happened. Nothing happened. It was dead quiet. It's like, oh, what just happened? It was really, we played it again. Let's play it again. And we played again. And after the second time, it was like, I don't know what we've done, whether it's going to be successful or what, but we knew it was different, and we were, I think, proud. Yeah, we were proud of what we'd made. We were proud of this album. It didn't matter if it sold. It really didn't. It was not about that at all. It was something magic that we had created and no one else had.
I had a roommate for a short time at lunch break, peak hour. He used to wake up to it. He had it on cassette, and he would the symphony. It's beginning. It's really nice, right? And the second it picked up, he would get out of bed, and I remember I knew it. I already knew the song because I knew the album. But every single morning, not that it drove us crazy because it was in his room and we could barely hear it, but he was blaring it. Just wanted to share that with you. There's a guy named Pete out there who woke up to it every morning.
Okay, Pete, I hope you're still waking up to it.
Tell me about that piece, by the way.
I wrote that in the back of a van. We were going down a motorway, a freeway, and the tempo going over the concrete steps. And I thought, I wonder if you write a song in that tempo. And Graham was sitting in front of me in the group van. I said, Graham, how long can you keep this tempo up for? Do, 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 do. And I thought, I'm going to write a song in that tempo. And it was born about in that van, the tempo. But I really wanted to have a different type of rock and roll song. I wanted to be rock and roll and suddenly stop and get into this ethereal, like orchestral organ type part with harmonies, and to take people by surprise, and I think that's what Pico is about, really. You can be, and all the hustle and bustle there, but there has to be a time in that period when you're calm in your life.
Ride My Seesaw, to me, the phrase, I look at that and I'm going, I used to write songs, I'm going, I would have never thought of that phrasing, Ride My Seesaw, the way that I'm going, I love it when it's like watching someone say, I can't do that, but I'm sure glad you can. How did you come up with that?
I don't know. I wrote the song on a Harmony Sovereign 6-string guitar, and I don't know. I really don't know. These things just, what's a word? If you an enthusiastic amateur in anything, there's no boundaries. There really aren't. There's no constraints. And I think as a Moody Blues, that's what we did. There was no constraints. So I never realized the tempo of that is any different to what anybody else do. It just was the natural one for me to put together.
That sounds like a fun song to play. That's just the exuberance of that.
It's a great song to play because it sort of drives on its own, and it's been the encore song for the Moodies for like 40 years, I think. And it's my encore song now because it's really sums up the evening, sums up the concert, and it's almost a free for all. It isn't, because it's constrained in the harmonies, everything else, but it's as much as free form, I think, as I could do.
What's the status of the band right now? Is there a band? Are you guys retired as far as a band? Is there anything you can share?
I don't know where the Moody Blues are, to be honest. And we've still got the same office. We've still got Threshold Records. So we've still got the same people working for us. And they're in touch with us all the while, obviously. But as far as the Moody's were concerned, I really no idea. And that's why I wanted to put this album out there, keeping the Moody Blues music alive, because there's an audience out there who wants to listen, and there's a musician who wants to play it.
Do you still talk to the other guys, the two other guys?
I haven't spoken to Justin for a while, because the pandemic really has changed everything. Justin lives in Monaco, so it's physically not possible really to even travel. But I was with Graham last week, spent a couple of hours with Graham at his home, and we had a few laughs and, talking about the old times. And I gave him the new album because, he's done recorded the poem. And so it was great to be with Graham.
I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you that because they'd kill me. Our viewers would kill me. That's another song that just sounds like, rhythmically, the way it came out, it is a fun song to play. I mean, it's just one of those tunes. That's a song that'll still be played in 100 years. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, there's a bass riff. Jamie Jameson and Tamla Motown and all these people. If there was any influence on me, it was these guys and Carol Kay. But I had to adapt that type of thing to my own playing. And Ride My Seesaw is based on just a bass riff. And but I wanted to not only have a rock and roll song, but relate to what was going in the world at the time with Vietnam and everything else. It was really important. Lots of reasons why. We come off stage sometimes and go to an airport, jump on a plane at like midnight. And on the plane would be all these guys and girls, soldiers, who the night before have been fighting in Vietnam. And there was us just coming off a gig, having a great time. And it was bizarre, really. It's strange to relate to that. And I wanted to put that in a song. Also wanted to put the fact I remember coming off on tour and going on tour in America, going to my home, and there's a whole lot of people asleep in my front yard, in my front garden. And I said, what's happening? And they said, well, you're going to be flying the captain in the spaceship, which is going to save the world. And I said, I have to tell you, I actually don't like flying. So there's no way I'm going to be flying anything. But I realized what was going on. People are thinking the Moody Blues and other musicians had all the secrets to the world's problems. And I wanted to say, no, I'm just like you. I'm a singer in a rock and roll band. We're all just singers in a rock and roll band.
Did your parents get you getting into music? Did they understand and support you?
Yeah, they didn't understand what I was doing. But
did they live to see your success?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. My mom was still coming to see me when she was 90 years of age. So brilliant. What they're going to say? They were very proud. Very proud. And I think it opened up a lot of doors for them as well in their older age. People would talk to them and say, how's Johnny doing, all this, and they're really, we saw Johnny on the television last week, and my mum would be proud and my dad would be proud.
That's nice.
It was really good. It was really good.
When you were a young man, in the 60s and the 70s, did you ever have any starstruck moments where you're going, all of a sudden you're a kid, then you get in this band, then you're meeting or touring with people, but did you have moments where you went, I can't believe I'm standing beside this guy or girl or whatever?
It really is strange. It was really slow, the build up to begin. And so every tour, there's something added to your own psyche, Yeah. And I never really realized. I remember we were touring with Canned Heat, and Canned Heat were top of the bill. And we toured the next tour with them, and the promoter said, no, you're top of the bill now. And he's like, no, we like Candide. They should be top of the bill. And so these things sort of happened on their own. And so it was wonderment is a word, really. Wonderment. I remember we did 2 concerts. No one has ever done this since. We did 2 concerts at Madison Square Garden in the same day. And it was like bewildering. And yeah, if you keep grounded, it doesn't matter.
Gemini Dream. I'm in Canada, by the way. We just moved from the west coast of Canada to all the way across the country. We're in New Brunswick, but Gemini Dream, #1 in Canada. You know that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell me about that song. We love that song. That was so huge here. Tell me about that song.
Yeah, it was really about. First of all, it was about us going on stage again for the first time. Long time no see, and it was like, okay, that's what we're going to do now. What have we been doing? We haven't been doing anything. We've been just like what everyone else does, not musicians. And so, in a way, it was this Gemini thing about A, being on stage in front of thousands of people, and B, being at home, painting the shed or something like that. It really was about this Gemini world we were living in. And I think a lot of us have that Gemini world we live in. And I think that's what, touched a lot of people, because your world you live in isn't just about one thing. It's about lots of things within you to make you who you are.
Isn't life strange? I remember watching the lyrics of that song. I remember going, I want to see. Was that really based on Pachelbel's canon? And to me, before you answer, to me, that song, you're asking life questions, but there's also a longing in there. There's a longing in the court, a longing of a woman, of someone from the past, or is it religious? Tell me about that one.
I bought a great friend of ours was Lionel Bart. Lionel Bart wrote the musical Oliver, but he also wrote nearly all the early rock and roll songs for English artists like Cliff Richard and Tommy Steele. And I was at his house one day and he said to me, John, you need to get one of these pianos, a Damon Baby grand piano. He said it's really harmonic and it's only got 2 pedals, so it's easy to play. And cut a long story short, I bought this piano, put it into the front room of our home. And I was sitting one night with my wife and a couple of friends, and I could hear this piano playing in my head, this tune. And I said, excuse me, I'll go to the piano. I went to the piano and sat there, and this song sort of almost auto-played itself with no lyric except "Is life strange? Is life strange? Is life strange?" And I went back and sat down and said to my wife, "I think I've written a new song." I said, "It could be the wine, of course, but I'll check in the morning." And I woke up the next morning and the song was still there. And I sat down then with a pen and paper, and the lyrics just seemed to come straight away, all of the lyrics. And it's this thing about I wish you could capture something. It may be the love of your life. It may be anything, but it's something that makes your inner self, gives it energy and warmth, and that's what really the song was about.
It would make me go back when I'd go through a breakup. I'd listen to it because when you go through a breakup, it always makes you think about the life questions. You can't go through a breakup with anybody without thinking of more than just the breakup. It has to make you grow, right? That's why I used to gravitate to that song.
I think you're right, because it can read like before. Can we ask for more? Do we all make the mistakes over and over and over again, this really, he was asking me as well, and hopefully asking everyone else, I must tell you something good about recording it in Mike Pinder. He built a new studio, and I played this song to him first on piano, and he said, "You would be great on an American harmonium, one of the pedal ones." And he said, "I've got one. I've just got this antique one." And if you listen to the original record closely in good speakers, you can hear the pedals going up and down as we pump in the organ.
Oh my God. Tell me about the cruise. I mean, there's one thing I've always wanted to do is do a rock and roll cruise. I've never gotten around to it, but I will one of these days, or a cruise in general. It seems like just a perfect combination of being able to be on a beautiful cruise, to be able to have downtime, to meet old friends, to meet fans. And well, tell me about the next one coming up.
The next one is hopefully it's going to go COVID happening or not happening, whatever. It's the Flower Power cruise with, I think there's Hollies, Zombies, Procol Harum, and a whole host of people. But what's great about it, the cruises have got great theatres, seat between 1,200 and 1,500 people. So you do two concerts, half the passengers one day and half the next day, And also what they do on the pool deck, they change all the pool deck and make it like an open air festival concert. So they put a concert stage up. So sometimes you play well, and there's music playing all day long in the bars, in the restaurants, and yeah, it's good. You meet up people. Last year before last was the Rock and Romance cruise with Don Felder and Jason Schiff. And Don Felder, I know from a long time ago, we used to play golf together and golf tournaments and do gala nights and Hotel California. It was great fun. And then Jason Schiff from Chicago, and we toured many years with Chicago. So it's great meeting up with those two guys again, and yeah, I recommend a cruise to everyone because it's like a floating festival.
And the food.
The food, everything. So something really as nice, like midnight, walking across the top deck, and there's a music playing, and there's people sitting down everywhere drinking margaritas or whatever,
Oh God! When the Moody Blues took the break, which I remember, I was in high school. We were going. They broken up, and then the Blue Jays came out, and none of us, because it was the age before the internet. We weren't aware of what was going on. But okay, John Lodge, was that a hiatus or was that did you guys? I know you were. I think Mike left because he was who was it that left? Because it was Mike because of the touring, right? That was before that.
Mike,
I know.
Yeah, but Mike also wanted to live in California, and so he wanted to be in California. And it's really important you let everyone do what they want to do, because it's no good holding people to ransom. It doesn't work, and I'm really pleased that happened because, when we started in '66, there was just 5 of us and a road manager. By 1974, we not only got the band, we had a touring company, we had a record company, we had a string of record shops from the south of England, and we were employing so many people who didn't know who they were, we lost the art of talking to each other. Every meeting we had, there was always an accountant meeting or something, and he wasn't creative anymore. And we said, listen, we got to put a stop to this. And we did. And we still kept fresh on records. That was the anchor to hold us all together until we eventually got together and made the Octave album.
When you left home, what was in your record collection around that time? I'm always curious.
The same record collection, I've still got them. I've got a Wurlitzer 1945 78 jukebox at my home that works perfectly. And on there is Peggy Sue, That With a Day, Sweet Little 16, All Are Shaking, Lucille, Good Golly Miss Molly, You Got the Pretenders. It's all on there. That was my record collection, which I took, and albums, of course. Buddy Holly album, the Cherokee Crickets album, Gene Vincent album, Little Richard album. That's with all the
No, I appreciate. What was the best part of being in the Moody Blues, and what was the toughest part of being in the Moody Blues?
Oh, the best part is really just being a Moody Blue and being part of something that not only has been very special in my life, has been incredibly special in my family's life and the future of my family's life, my children and grandchildren. It's their future as well. So really that's what it means to be being part of something very special. And the downside, probably the hours when you're on the road and it's 2:00 in the morning and you wish you was at home with your wife and children, and you know what they're doing, the exams they're taking or the sports day you're missing and all that stuff. That was the downside. But I try to maintain a really good relationship and try to get to as many of those things as I could anyway.
He has a brand new album. Links in the description of this video. John Lodge does, that is. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music.